We don't usually spend too much time thinking about the menus in games, and much less about the sounds that those menus make. A little while ago though, I started up a game for the first time and I couldn't help noticing how the sounds in that menu really drew me into the game's world, before I had even got as far as trying to select a level. This made me curious to have a look at some other games as well and to try and see what makes the sound design of their menu systems so special. The first game we're going to take a look at is Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. The main confirmation sound that you get when you select an option is a fairly standard video gamey synthesized sound. But the menu buttons themselves are made up using boards, wooden boards, and when you're moving from one menu screen to another, you hear those boards clattering around in a way that I find quite pleasant. It makes the menus feel a bit more tangible, as if they are real physical objects. When you get into the world map, moving from one area to another makes a whooshing noise, which implies that you're moving very quickly over a long distance. And it's also combined with a tambourine hit, which makes your input feel a bit more decisive. When you get into the area and move Donkey Kong from one level to another, it makes a kind of ratcheting sound, which makes it sound as if there are mechanisms in the background that are allowing Donkey Kong to move around from one spot to another. And when you finally press on a level, the noise that it makes has a couple of layers to it, which reminds me very much of the sound of when you first press in a button, but then also hear a second noise when you let go of it. All of this combines to make the menus of Donkey Kong Country Returns feel very physical, like they're a real object that you're interacting with. I think it would combine quite well with some haptic feedback to increase this illusion even further. The next game we're going to take a look at is the amazing Hotel Dusk, and this one is actually a little bit of a cheat because technically it's not actually a menu sound that we're going to be looking at. While the menu sound is okay, I don't really find it very interesting. What I wanted to look at a bit more closely was the sound that you get when you progress dialogue. When you tap to progress through the dialogue in this game, it makes a nice click noise. It reminds me quite a bit of clicking in a pen. It's quite a subtle kind of noise, but I find it very satisfying, and it always makes me want to progress the dialogue in time to the music, so that I can line the sound up with the drum beats. The next game that we're going to do is actually the one that gave me the idea to do this video in the first place. Hey Pikmin. This is quite different to the previous examples that we looked at, because while the noises in those games make them feel more down to earth, more grounded and realistic, the sounds in this game's menu make it feel more otherworldly. The layers of sound in the menu not only feel very futuristic and technological, but they also have a shimmering quality that is almost mystical sounding to me. This really emphasizes the fact that you're about to step into this mysterious, unknown world, that while it could be full of amazing things, it is likely also full of very dangerous things, but you don't know what yet. It's alien to you. It's really interesting to me how the noises in a menu can actually pull you into the game's world like this from the very moment that you start the game up. Rayman pulls us even further away from reality by using sound effects that sound like they could have been made by Tinkerbell. These noises make sure that from the moment you select an option in the menu screen, you start getting drawn into this game's beautiful fairy tale art style. And the noises that you hear as you collect various items and as things spawn into the level as you go will draw you into this feeling even further. Another game that uses the noises in its menus to pull you into the game's world is Star Fox 64 3D. A lot of the noises in this game's menus are fairly ordinary video gamey kind of sounds, but there are some that are a little more interesting. For example, after you start a new game, if you choose to skip the following cutscene, then it plays a whoosh sound, which I think comes from when the Arwing does a somersault. Another example is when you select one of the levels. As well as getting the regular confirmation noise, it also makes an explosion sound, which I think emphasizes the fact that Andros has turned that planet into a war zone. I find these sound effects a bit less gratifying than the other ones, maybe because they're not quite as tight and punchy, but I still think it's an interesting example. The sound design in video game menus might seem like an insignificant little detail. However, these noises can affect the way that we feel before we've even started playing the game. And they can really set the tone for the game going forwards as well. And if nothing else, the fact that this video is even possible really highlights how much work goes into even the tiniest details of these games, and really emphasizes the fact that these creations are works of art. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Obviously, these are just a few examples of sound design in game menus, and I'd be interested to hear some of your favourite examples. Recently I got a bunch of new subscribers after Danny from Retro Ranger Reviews gave me a shout out, so thank you very much for that, Danny. And thank you to everyone who's come to take a look at my channel. And thank you for watching all the way through this video, regardless of where you've come from. As ever, don't forget to dislike and unsubscribe, and don't you dare leave a comment down below, you little